U.S. foreign policy very close up. I watch it not only from the perspective of an expert in the United States, but from my peregrinations around the world, which are nonstop because my job is around the world. And I don't trust the United States at all. I don't trust the judgment. I don't trust how they act. I don't trust U.S. policies. And I think they are bringing us more and more to disaster.
We say that the United States, if we go with, say, a gangster analogy, as the superpower with all this imperial hubris, yes, they are responsible for a lot of crimes.
Our government, the U.S., he was the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, are so arrogant that they're creating wars and that they're creating bigger and bigger risks. Well, I guess I absorbed that message. That was more than 50 years ago, by the way, basically 60 years ago just now. And I've watched closely, and I have studied these issues, I'd say, pretty meticulously. I've read and spoken and discussed with people, with heads of state. I don't trust the United States. That's the basic point. If we look at things quantitatively, the biggest gangster of the 19th century was Britain, by far. And they just loved their empire, and they commanded around 25% of the world's territory at the height of the British Empire. And there is a well-known, semi-humorous but quite serious book documenting the 23 countries that Britain never invaded, meaning that Britain invaded the whole world. Britain made provocations. Britain made wars everywhere. I feel the United States learned, sitting on Britain's knee, everything we know about empire we learned from Britain. So what it meant was the beginning of the American-led world. Quantitatively, the U.S. absolutely is different and absolutely has a foreign policy that is different from all other countries. What other country has 750 overseas military bases?
Well, why did they put their countries next to the U.S. bases?
That's exactly right. You know, you look at that map of China surrounded by the U.S. military bases with that question coming out of the map. The military bases are everywhere. That's distinctive. The country number 2, by the way, of most military bases to this day, it's not China or Russia, these big populous countries. It's Britain because it's the legacy. Britain still still runs all these islands where they have naval bases and so forth, the listening systems and so forth around the world. Of course, it's not a great power anymore, but it still has more than 100 overseas military bases. How many overseas military bases does China have? It's debated. There's one for sure in Djibouti, kind of a naval repair